which team should pick up Dez?
Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like,
Whoa.
Dez Bryant is a who cares player right now. It's like Adrian Peterson. Everyone thought I was being disrespectful. Matter of fact, Stephen A., you almost had a conniption when I said he could be a souped-up Frank Gore. Remember? Souped-up Frank Gore? Well, he didn't even turn out to be a souped-up Frank Gore in his second career.
Got hurt again after that.
Yeah, but that's the point, man. Adrian Peterson was just a guy when he came back. He had a couple games where he popped. You know, I mean, that's going to happen with a running back if you keep feeding him the ball. But he was just a guy. It's no disrespect to be just a guy in the NFL. You got to be a real good athlete, real good player. But he was no longer Adrian Peterson. Dez Bryant is just a brand name now. As a player, he's a Jag, just a guy. So where should he go? Where any just a guy should go. He's a big target, but he's not great with his routes. Send him to New England. See if Belichick can do something with him. Because if he can start running routes, maybe, they don't have Gronk. They could use a big target, right? So there's an answer for you. But my point is, it doesn't really matter. Dez Bryant or where anyone should go. Like, he's not a special player anymore. So who cares?
Well, I'm not going to sit up there and say who cares, because just a guy. Listen, the New England Patriots have won Super Bowls with just guys. In other words, maybe not Tom Brady, but some of the guys that he was throwing to were just a guy until they were playing with him. You'd be surprised what just a guy can pull off. All right. I will say this to you though. I'm gonna be a bit nostalgic here, a little bit emotional from this perspective. I'm gonna roll with my Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously not as a wideout per se, but that guy in the slot. I wouldn't mind seeing Dez Bryant in that particular situation. If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jesse James is gone to the Detroit Lions. Obviously, Vance McDonald is still there. Juju Smith-Schuster is still there. I mean, you've got some other pieces, don't get me wrong, but an experienced receiver that can catch ball between the numbers, I don't mind. I look at Dez Bryant as somebody, Marcus, that potentially can play that role. Obviously, he's not a premier wideout anymore. He used to be open even when he wasn't open. That clearly isn't the case. He hasn't really played football in the last couple of years. We get all of that. So when I look at it from that perspective, I'm not expecting but so much from him. But if you're talking about an intermediary target, catching the ball in between the numbers, not necessarily as your tight end, but in the slot role, I think that's something that Dez Bryant can do for an elite quarterback. Now, Ben Roethlisberger isn't Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, or somebody like that. But he's still Big Ben. He threw for over 5,000 yards last year. He threw for 34 touchdowns last year. He's got something to prove this year. And the more targets you give him, I think the better off it will be for him. So I wouldn't mind if Mike Tomlin and the Steelers said, hey, come on over here. Let's see what you got. Wouldn't bother me.
I agree with both of you guys to a certain point. But here's the deal. We don't know what Dez Bryant is. And we know this injury that Dez Bryant sustained, it usually derails athletes. And what Dez Bryant did best at his position was out-athlete people. Out-body them, get up higher off the ground than them. I put a couple teams down. Who's the Redskins wide receiver?
We don't know.
Okay.
The tight end.
Yeah, exactly. New Orleans already had picked him up. Obviously, Sean Payton felt like he could come in and do some things for that offense. And maybe in that role you talked about, Stephen A., as a possession guy. Why not Arizona? Cliff Kingsbury is supposed to be an offensive guru. Yeah. You just drafted Kyler Murray. Why not have a big possession guy if you don't think Dez Bryant is going to be a one anymore? What about the Tennessee Titans? Marcus Mariota is struggling. We don't even know if Marcus Mariota is going to survive in Tennessee.
You think Dez helps a dude like Mariota?
But what does he hurt?
Hold on, Marcus. Marcus, hold on for a second. Wait a minute now. Don't be very careful about what you're saying. Our Nashville folks are watching us. They have Ryan Tannehill. We don't want to just sit there. We got to be careful, Marcus, because Nashville, who was very supportive and they treated the show great, they came out and supported us in droves. You know what? Yo, Stephen A., if it ain't Mariota, it's going to be Ryan Tannehill.
You give Mariota
That's what they said.
That's
what they said, right? That's what they said, Marcus.
Hey, listen, I remember when you made the statement and nobody could ask the question, i.e. Derrick Henry. Mariota's a good guy. We got all of that. Max, that's what I'm saying. What risk are you taking? Right? The reward will be greater than the risk. Do you have to pay him a lot of money? No. Are you going to have an opportunity in camp to find out who he is, what type of shape he can get into before the season? Absolutely. They're like dealing with a guy that was a number one guy, the all-time leading touchdown catcher for the Cowboys. When you talk, like Dez Bryant name was synonymous with being a top 5 guy in the league just
Let
3
me ask
years
you this.
ago.
Yeah,
Do you
but-
think people aren't picking him up because they feel like he's going to be trouble in the locker room, or more so just because he lost his
My
touch?
former broadcast partner, Marcellus Wiley, said when personality trumps production, that's when you have a problem.
Yeah.
You put up with Dez's stuff. And I think Dez was, by and large, a very good teammate in many respects to guys. He really wanted his team to do well. But I'll say this, don't get it twisted, Marcus. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to pick him up. You're right. It's low risk, high reward, right? What I'm saying is it don't much matter. Like any team might give him a look. This is what happens in the NFL. And the media gets this confused and the fans get this confused. At a certain point, you're just a brand name. You may have some upside, but he's just a brand name right now. But the brand doesn't mean what it used to.
But, Max, what I'm saying to you is this. Your point is valid if you're willing to stick to that and say that you don't expect to get a reward out of him. But if you're saying it's low risk, high reward, that means he has the potential to produce. And if he has the potential to produce, he's not just a brand name. And as it pertains to you, Marcus, I would agree with all of your teams except Arizona, because you don't need to bring him to a rookie quarterback and rookie head coach situation.
But this is what I'm thinking, Stephen A. Who's in that locker room? Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah, but that's a lot to ask Larry. Don't you care about Larry? Why would you do that to Larry? Where's the love for Larry?
But what wide receiver outside of Larry Fitzgerald would you bring? Somebody that has personality issues, which I don't think. I played with Dez. I saw Dez react and respond to teammates and wanted to win. Really good teammate.
Yep.
Good
Seemed that way to
teammate.
me.
When you bring a guy into the locker room, there is no receiver in the NFL more well-respected than Larry Fitzgerald.
I agree.
And if you bring another veteran like Dez in there and Larry says, you know what, dude, let's make a move. Dez Bryant may be more apt.